Shri Sai Ram. Hearty welcome to Sri Sathya Sai Lok Seva Gurukulam online classes. Come on, all of you sit straight. Get ready. Okay. So we are in the world of quadrilaterals. Can you name some places or examples of quadrilaterals? So, for example, the table, what is there in your house is rectangle. The top surface is rectangle. So, that is a quadrilateral. And yesterday I told that there is one Kaju Barfi. Its shape is diamond shape. It is quadrilateral. Tiles of your house is a quadrilateral. So, quadri means what? 4. Lateral means sides. So, a plane figure having 4 sides, 2 of which meet at a point called vertex. So, 4 vertices, 4 sides, then what? 4 angles. So, a plane figure having 4 sides, and naturally when you say sides, 4 angles also will be there. How many vertices? 4 vertices. What is vertices? The end points. What else you have? Come on. Anybody? Yes. There will be what is called diagonals. 2 diagonals. So, a plane figure. Why it is called figure? Because you are drawing in a book or a board or a table on a plane you are drawing. That's why it is called as a figure. And about uses, I was just now telling you, this quadrilateral, even the kite also. One of the famous quadrilateral is a kite. We discussed in the last class. And most of you enjoy this kite. Not. Shirdi Baba says, you are all like kites, but all your thread is in my hand, he says. Means what? He has the control for all the jivis of the universe. And whenever he wants, he leaves it free. Suppose you say, I want to go to America, go. England, okay, go. Delhi, go. Bombay, everywhere he can say, go, go. But the thread is in his hands. Whenever he wants, he can pull. Is it not? So, that is about kites, okay? So, kinds of quadrilaterals we discussed yesterday. Come on, fast. Square, rectangle, parallelogram, rhombus, trapezium. They are the different kinds of quadrilaterals. And their properties also. In a square, all the angles are, it is called equiangular and equilateral. All the sides are equal, all the angles are equal, 2 diagonals bisect each other at right angles. In rectangle, opposite sides are equal, opposite angles are equal, all angles are 90 degrees, 2 diagonals bisect each other, but not right angles. Parallelogram, opposite sides are equal, opposite angles are equal, 2 diagonals bisect each other. Rhombus, all the sides are equal, diagonals bisect each other at right angle, but diagonals are not equal, opposite angles are equal. Trapezium, one pair of sides are parallel to each other. So, these are the properties, we already seen it. Just for recalling, I told different between different kinds of quadrilaterals means difference between square and rectangle. Can you tell me? Come on. Yes. In square, all the sides are equal. In rectangle, opposite sides are equal. In a square, diagonals bisect at right angles. In rectangle, the diagonals do not bisect it. They bisect each other but not at right angles. In parallelogram, the two pairs of opposite sides are equal. In trapezium, one pair of opposite sides are parallel. Like that, you must be able to tell the difference. In rhombus, all the sides are equal, but the angles are not 90 degrees. But the diagonals bisect at right angles. But the diagonals are not equal. In a square, diagonals are equal, bisect at right angles. It is not. Like that, you must be able to tell the difference between the different kinds of quadrilaterals. Now we will pass on to the home assignment. First question. In a parallelogram PQRS, angle P is 65. Find a measure of other angles. So we know that opposite angles are equal in a parallelogram. If P is 65, R also must be 65. Why? They are the opposite angles. Q plus S. So if we say this is 65, 65, the sum of these two will be 360 minus angle R plus angle P. 360 minus 65 plus 65, 360 minus 130 becomes 230. So now what is the angles now? Angle Q plus S. So you have angle Q plus angle S is equal to 230 degrees. And therefore each angle becomes, come on, Q is equal to, S is equal to 230 by 2, that is 115 degrees, opposite angles of a parallelogram. Is it not? So you can write it as angle Q is equal to S because they are equal as per the property of a parallelogram. Is it alright? So simple. Come to next question. Next question is ABC is a parallelogram. See this parallelogram. What is property? Opposite sides are equal. So these two sides are equal. You must note. And then DAB is given to be 70. CBD is 55. Find CDB. CDB is a question mark. And ADB. CDB and ADB is a question mark. So before you working out, you must do orally in the mind. For mind, doing the mind, you should know properties. So when you say, so these two are parallel lines. This is a, intersect, the line joining opposite side. So if this is 55, this also becomes 55. Is it not? So if this is 70, this also becomes 70. A is equal to C. So 140. 140. 360 minus 140 is 220. So 220, the sum of B and D by 2, 110. So this also becomes 55. This also becomes 55. That's how you have to do it mentally. Then you must write down steps. So parallelogram ABCD, DAB is equal to BCD is equal to 70, opposite angles. And now CDB is equal to 180 minus 70 plus 55. Why it is 70 plus 55? CDB in this. So this is 70. So 70 plus 55, 125. So 180 minus 125 is equal to 55. First step. ADC, this is the first answer. ADC is equal to ABC. ADC is equal to ABC is equal to 360 minus 140. That is 220 by 2. That is equal to 110 degrees. So ADC is 110 degrees. Now you want to find out ADB. So next step is angle ADB is equal to half of angle ADC. That is half of 110 degrees. That is 55 degrees. So this is the second answer. ADB is equal to 55 and CDB is 55. Is it all right? Okay. Okay. We'll pass on next question. KLMN is a rhombus in which KLM is equal to 58 degrees. Find a measure of angle KMN. So, here you must know what is meant by rhombus. I will draw a rough figure. A rhombus is a figure having all the sides equal and it is named as KLMN is a rhombus. In that KLM is 55 degrees. 58, sorry. KLM is 58. They are asking KMN now. If this is 58, opposite angle also becomes 58. Is it not? First point. What is sum of all the four angles? 360. So 360 minus sum of these two. You have to make out. Okay. That's all you get. So first you must write in a rhombus KLMN. Angle KLM is equal to 58 degrees. This KLM is also equal to KNM. Why they are equal? Opposite angles of a rhombus. Now, therefore, angle NKL plus NML is equal to 360 minus how much? 58 into 2. 58 plus 58. So 360 minus 8 plus 8 is 16. 116. Correct? Correct? Okay. 10 minus 6 is 4. Then 5 minus 1 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. So sum of these two is 214, 244. Correct? Yes. Now you have to find out KMN. Therefore, angle KMN, LMN, angle LMN is equal to 122. Now, lastly, therefore, KMN is equal to half of that 122. That is 61 degrees. Is it all right? See, first it was given 58. This also becomes 58, opposite angles. And then angle K plus angle M. This is K, this is M, will be 244. So, angle M becomes 244 by 2, 122. Now, KMN becomes, as the diagonal bisect the angle, you have half of 122, that is 61 degrees. Okay, taken down. Very happy. Now, let us see today's topic, that is called midpoint theorem. Midpoint. Mid means what? You might have seen hotels. Mid highway hotel means middle of the two cities. So, also in triangle you have, suppose you have a triangle ABC, D and D are called midpoints, and the line joining them. So, AB is one side, AC is another side. Mark the midpoint D and D and join that. And what are the properties you get? So, if you measure BC and DE, suppose BC is 10 centimeters, DE will be 5. Or if DE is 4, BC becomes 8, like that. So, we have the length of BC and DE have to measure, and we find that this DE will be half of BC, half of BC, or you can also tell as BC is 2 times DE. Then you may ask, suppose we join these points, then this also it holds good. Suppose you join these two midpoints, that will be half of this. And similarly, if you join this also, suppose you mark the midpoint as a F and join this F, yeah, suppose this you have joined, then EF is half of AB and DF is half of AC. Are you following? So, all this holds good. So, you can do practically also. Draw a triangle, mark the midpoint, join it and measure using scale. So, you will get a very interesting result. D is half of BC, and also one more thing is D will be parallel to BC. So, again measure angle ADE and ABC. Measure these angles and this also. What do you observe? If you measure the angles, we find that ADE is equal to ABC. Suppose this angle is say 60 degrees, this also will be 60, that is the meaning. Similarly, that angle E is 50, C also become 50. Okay, these angles all be equal. So, the angles are equal. That is a very important point. You may ask why it is so. Because these are parallel lines, this is the transversal. So, these are called corresponding angles. Whenever two lines are cut by a transversal, there will be corresponding angles and they will be equal. This suppose it is D and this is B. So, this angle will be equal to this angle. That is called corresponding angles. You studied in your previous class, right? So, they are called corresponding angles. You know that when a pair of corresponding angles are equal, the two lines will be parallel. So, very important results. One is they are half of that. D is half of that and D is parallel to BC. Alright. Similarly, if you have a midpoint here and join that, as I told earlier, that will be parallel to the opposite side and half of that opposite side. So, very important results. So, suppose this line is 5, this becomes 10. So, suppose this line is 4, this becomes 8. That's the meaning. Are you following? Okay. Now we will see the converse of this. You may repeat this experiment with another 2 or 3 triangles and naming each of them triangles, marking the point D and D. So, the D can be like this also. So, here we say D is half of BC and D is parallel to BC. So, this is, suppose this is 12, this is 6 and vice versa. And this mark is called parallel lines. Why do you call parallel? If they produce on both sides, they do not meet each other. So, that is the meaning. So, you can extend it to any type of triangles. So, the important result, in a triangle, the line segment joining the midpoints. Have a correct picture in the mind. The line joining the midpoints of any two sides is parallel to the third side and half of it. Any triangle you take, for example, if you take XYZ, and if you join a line like this called AB, AB is parallel to YZ and AB is half of YZ. Similarly, if you have a line like this, say call it as C, BC is half of XY and BC is parallel to XY. Similarly, if you draw a line like this, AC is parallel to XZ and AC is half of XZ. That is a very important result. So, we can also verify the converse of the above stated result. This result, what is there? So, the line joining, how do you tell converse? The line joining midpoints of the two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side and half of it. Is half of it. So, draw any triangle PQR, find the midpoint to the sides RQ, mark it as L. So, draw a triangle like this, mark the midpoint as L. Then draw a line LX parallel to PQ, which intersects PR at M. So, this intersects here. So, what do you get? So, it is just reverse of it. You get that measure PM and MR. You measure it, PM will be equal to MR. Okay, and angles also. These are called corresponding angles. Suppose you have 1 here, it's also 1. If this is 2, this is 2. They will be equal. They are called corresponding angles. So, measure the angles. And what do you observe? That these angles will be equal, the lines will be parallel. But only condition is that these should be midpoints. M and L must be midpoints. So, it means that the converse of this also is true. It's a very important result. Okay. Yes, they are equal. So, that is the result you got. You may repeat with different triangles and by naming each of them PQR, taking each time L as a midpoint of RQ, drawing a line LM parallel to PQ, you will find in each case RM is equal to MP. So, we conclude that the line drawn through the midpoint of one side of a triangle parallel to the another side bisects the third side. That is the converse. So, just now we told that suppose your triangle, if you have a triangle called PQR, And if LM is drawn parallel to PQ, LM is drawn parallel to PQ, then we find that RM is equal to MP. RM is equal to LM is drawn parallel to PQ, RM is equal to MQ. Is it not? So now, so that is it. And here how it is drawn? It is drawn parallel to this, is it not? So if these are equal, suppose this is 5 and 5, 10, and these also will be equal, that is the meaning. Say it is 4 and 4. Both must be equal. How you get it equal? Only when you draw a parallel. Okay, that is called the converse of the famous midpoint theorem. Midpoint theorem. Followed? And now let us work out some problems. D is the midpoint of the side AB of triangle ABC. D is parallel to BC. If AC is equal to 8 centimeters, AC is 8. This is 8. You are given that D is the midpoint of AB, and this is drawn parallel to this. So they are asking find AE. So what does that line drawn parallel make? That divides, na? So naturally it becomes 4 and 4 as per the converse of midpoint theorem. So have a correct mind. Close your eyes and think of the theorem and then try to answer it. Okay, first you must do it mentally, then you have to work out. So in triangle ABC, D is drawn parallel to BC. D is the midpoint of AB. So therefore E is also midpoint of AC. That is half of AC is equal to half of 8, that is 4 centimeters. That is as per the, what is the reason for this? The reason is converse of midpoint theorem. Converse of midpoint theorem. So A is equal to half of 8, that is 4 centimeters. Is it okay? Very happy. Shall we move on to next one? Next question. The figure ABCD is a trapezium in which AD and BC are non-parallel sides. So these are non-parallel sides. And when you say trapezium, AB is parallel to CD, one property. Show that EF is parallel to AB, that is given. Show that F is the midpoint of BC. F is the midpoint of BC. So trapezium is also very interesting type of quadrilateral. Of course, it is not used in many places. Some places we use it. See, this is called trapezium. Already I have shown it. So these two sides are parallel. These are called non-parallel sides. The sum of the angles, these two 180, this also 180. And if the non-parallel sides are equal, we call it as isosceles trapezium. Okay. Now shall we work out now? Now you must note that E is the midpoint of AD. As per midpoint theorem, this line is drawn parallel to this. So then you have DG will be equal to GB. Is it not? and G becomes the midpoint. And a line is drawn parallel to the base here in this triangle. So you have this will be parallel to that and half of that. GF is parallel to CD and GF is equal to half of CD. So that you have to work out. First point, since EG is parallel to AB, E is the midpoint of AD, so G will be the midpoint of DB. Now a line is drawn parallel from G to F. So F is the midpoint of BC because the reason is converse, by the converse of midpoint theorem. Once again, here EG is drawn parallel to AB, and therefore if E is a midpoint, G also is a midpoint of BD. Now we drawn in this triangle BCD, G is the midpoint and a line is drawn parallel to the base. This becomes base. So GF is parallel to DC and G is the midpoint. So as per the converse, F also becomes the midpoint of BC. Followed? Is it alright? So this is on the basis of converse of midpoint theorem. Followed? So shall we move on to next one? Next problem. ABC is a triangle in which PQR are the midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CA. So this is the side AB, midpoint is P. This is side AC, midpoint is R. This side BC, midpoint is Q. So line joining the midpoints. You are given with the AB 8. AB 8 centimeters, BC 7 centimeters and CA 6 centimeters. Now they are asking measurement of PR, triangle PQR. Let us do orally. See here, PR is a line joining midpoints. So as per midpoint theorem, if BC is 7, this becomes 3.5. And Q and R are midpoint, therefore, if the AB is 8, this becomes 4 centimeters. So also, if these are the midpoints, this is done parallel, so this will be half of that, that is 3. Naturally, if you add all the 3, we get the sides, perimeter of the 3 sides. Alright, just on the basis of midpoint theorem. So P is the midpoint of AB and R is the midpoint of AC. Therefore, line joining them, PR is parallel to BC and PR is half of BC. Half of BC means what? Half of 7, that is 3.5. Because BC is 7. Similarly, next one. Similarly, PQ is half of AC, that is half of 6 centimeters, that is 3 centimeters. Lastly, QR is equal to half of AB and half of 8 centimeters, that is 4 centimeters. On the converse of the midpoint theorem. So if you want, you can just have the figure once again. We will have the figure. So we had a triangle here. Please note it carefully. In this triangle, here you have found out PR. PR is 3.5. And similarly, RQ is half of AB, that is 4. Similarly, PQ is half of AC, that is 3. That is what is written next. I think all of you can follow it. So that is 3, that is 4. Alright. The sides are 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and PR is 3.5 centimeters. And the perimeter, if they ask, add all the 3. 3 plus 4 plus 3.5. The perimeter becomes 10.5 centimeters. Naturally, this perimeter of the big triangle becomes double that. 10.5 into 2, that is 21 centimeters. Okay. Is all right? So interesting, na? Okay. Now we will have some home assignment. ABCC an equilateral triangle. DEF are the midpoints of the sides AB, BC, CA. Prove that DF also is an equilateral triangle. Here the mention of angles comes. Just now we suffered about sides. Now this is about angles. Try to do it, okay? Second question, D and E are the midpoints of the sides AB, AC respectively. If BC is 10 centimeter, find DE. This is 10. What is DE? One more question. Followed. And ABC is isosceles triangle. Isosceles means what? AB is equal to AC. M is the midpoint of AB and MN is drawn parallel to BC. Show that AMN is also isosceles triangle. Will you do it? Very nice. Let us see what Baba says. Here is a quotation of Bhagavan Baba. The grace of God is like an insurance. Have you heard about insurance company? The famous insurance company, LIC, Life Insurance Corporation of India. So it is like insurance. It will help in a time of need without any limit. Suppose you are sick, suppose you have got any accident or something, suppose somebody is coming and attack. In all such cases, if you just cry out his name, you may call by any name. There is no need that you should call by only Om Sai Ram like that. Call by any name, it reaches him. Immediately what do you get? Grace of God. So always be remembering him, then you will get his grace that will benefit you at all times. Okay. So come prepared for the homework. Thank you.